What's up, y'all? Good morning. Today we're gonna do some book shopping, but first we need to leave the hotel. So let's head downstairs. All right, I'm outside and I'm on my way. And with the power of editing, I'll be to Pike Place Market. No S on that. Now we're gonna go to our first bookstore, which is Left Banks Books, which is right to my left here. So let's go inside and take a look.
The world is watching. The world is here. And now, together, we write history.
I wish I were big.
It's magic.
Donkey?
You're just a stinking, useless weakling. And this is certainly no place for humans.
Do or do not. There is no try.
All right, time to eat now. All right, got away from Pike Place Market. It's busy today. World Cup's still in town. The US-Belgium game was just last night. I watched it here at Seattle Center. But very crowded still today, but I did the 5 bookstores that I planned on going to. So now I'm heading back to drop off the books, and then I'll do a book haul, and then spend the rest of my day without you enjoying myself at the waterfront. So I'll see you back at the hotel. All right, and I'm back. So today was busy, as I mentioned. The World Cup game was just yesterday, the US-Belgium Cup in Seattle, which we lost, but still busy, still lots of tourists here, but I managed to go down to Pike Place. I walk from the center. It's about 20-25 minutes to walk down there. It's pretty flat for us anyway. Going north-south, it's pretty flat. East-west is where you get the majority of the hills downtown. But anyway, now it's time for a review. So I went to 5 bookshops. The first bookshop that I went to was Left Bank Books, which is right off Pike Street next to Pike Place Market. It's right, you can't miss it. It's right next to everyone taking their pictures of the Pike Place sign, the public market sign. And it's more of the left-leaning, progressive type bookshop. So I got Radical Cities by Justin McGurk. And I thought this was interesting because I'm very interested in green technology and organizing cities in a way that is eco-friendly. And there's lots of things we can do with that. So this is all about cities in Latin America and what they're doing for radical ideas. I don't know if it's all green related stuff. It says on the back, in Radical Cities, Justin McGurk treks across Latin America to discover the activists, architects, maverick politicians, and radical communities rethinking their cities for the 21st century. From Brazil to Venezuela, Mexico to Argentina, McGurk finds new ways to address the issues of poverty, inequality, and the barrio. So this might be an interesting read. It's going to be nonfiction, thick, but I'm interested in this topic, so that should be interesting for me. So that's my first book. The second bookstore I went to was Lamplight Books, which is just underneath Left Bank Books. You go down around the corner and then into the food stalls there. There's like a fresh fruit stall. When you go down the main street, after you turn right at the corner, the brick corner, turn right inside the building there, and you'll find Lamplight Books inside there. And I got Calvino, Italo Calvino's Into the War. This is my favorite author and a book I have not read of his, so automatic pickup for me. I had to get this and I'm definitely going to read this. So it says, set in Italy in the summer of 1940, this trio of stories explores the relationships between the different generations caught up in the war, as well as Calvino's own experience as a teenager. In the title story, Into the War, we are given an insight into what life was really like for those too young to be conscripted into Mussolini's army, while in the Avantgardista in Menton, the protagonist and his friends take a revealing anticlimactic trip to the garrisoned French town of Menton, the sole Italian conquest of the early months of the conflict. The final story, UNPA Nights, is a touching comic tale of friendship in a blackout, where the narrator's imagination wanders as he roams through the seedier parts of the darkened town, instead of guarding the school buildings. Calvino always weaves interesting, fantastic stories, so I can't wait to read this. So the next bookstore I went to was Pine Books, which is downstairs in the main building of Pike Place. A lot of tourists, I think, stay on the first floor, look at some flying fish, and then leave. But downstairs there are a bunch of stores, and in fact, the last 3 bookstores that I went to are all downstairs, 1 or 2 floors below that main floor that everybody walks into with the flying fish. So the first one was Pine Books, and I got The Last Will and Testament of Senhor de Silva Araujo. My pronunciation is terrible, and I apologize for that. By Germando Almeida. They were having a World Cup of books, so every country in the World Cup was represented with at least 1 book there, and then they were going through the round of 16, which we're on now, and it was very cool. So I got the Cape Verde book, because I've never seen a Cape Verde book. I talked to the owner at the counter, and he was saying that Curacao was also another one that he had trouble finding books for. So very cool to see that being done, to get lesser known countries and authors represented, but also very cool just to see how that was going. So anyway, I had to pick up the Cape Verde book. I don't know much about it, to be honest, but I got it because of Cape Verde. So let's see what it's about. So it says, everyone in Cape Verde knew Senhor de Silva Araujo, successfully entrepreneur, owner of the island's first automobile, a most serious, upright, and self-made businessman. He was the local success story, but an orphan, he never married, he never splurged, 1 good suit was good enough for him, and he never wandered from the straight and narrow, or so everyone thought. But when his 387-page last will and testament is read aloud, a marathon task on a hot afternoon which exhausts reader after reader, there is shocking news, and not just for the smug nephew so certain of inheriting all of his property. So this is about a man who has passed away, and the whole story is his story retroactively told through his will and testament that his family never knew. So this seems very interesting and really cool, and I'm excited to read something from Cape Verde. Also downstairs, my third bookstore was actually the Collectables, Golden Age Collectables, which is mostly about collectible stuff like Funko Pops and things like this. But they also have comic books and graphic novels and manga and stuff like that. So I had to get 2 books from there because I wanted to represent graphic novels and manga. So the first one I got was Twig. This is by Scotty Young and Kyle Strom. And honestly, I got this because I just like it. I think it looks cool. I like the artwork. So I got this because I think the artwork looks cool, and I'm hoping that the story is good. I really know nothing about the story. I just got it because the artwork looked cool, and it looked very like forest and, you know, sort of green ecological sort of storytelling, which of course I like. So I'm excited about this one, see if I like the story. So that's Twig, and the artwork looks really pretty inside. So I'm excited about the graphic novel Twig. The other book that I got from Golden Age Collectables was recommended to me by the woman that was working there. I asked about any books that reminded her of Studio Ghibli movies. So she recommended the Witch Hat Atelier by Kamome Shirahama. And so that was the first thing she thought of when I said that. She said, oh, she was very excited about this. I've got several recommendations, but the first thing that she thought of was this book. So immediately I was like, well, if that's the first thing that comes to your head when you're thinking of Studio Ghibli, then this is definitely the book that I needed to get. It says, meet young Coco, curious and bright and desperate to learn how magic's wrought. But witches keep their secrets hidden tight, and witches, Coco knows, are born, not taught. Then one day Coco spies upon a witch, as he prepares the charms for which she yearns, and sees that, like her skill with thread and stitch, the truth is, magic's something she can learn. Now with this knowledge, Coco starts to try to teach herself the witch's way with charms, and yet her aspirations go awry as Coco's magic causes grievous harm. To set things right, young Coco leaves her home, and so begins the tale within this tome. So this is a girl that wants to become a witch, and now she's going to find out how to do that. So this one also looks very nice, and it is from the Japanese, so it's backwards the way that we would read it, but still in English, of course, so that will be good for that one. And finally, the bookstore furthest down underneath Pike Place Market was BLMF, a literary saloon it's called, and that was a lot of used books, and I got Larry Niven, The Flight of the Horse, just because I think this looks interesting. I was looking for something maybe sci-fi, fun to read type of book, and this is a time travel book. So it says, get a horse. That's the mission. That's what his boss told him, and off Svets went with the best intentions in the world. But finding a horse, especially when you've never seen one, was no easy matter. So Svets quickly discovered. Undaunted and ready to set off again, Svets headed into the past on another assignment, bring back a sperm whale. And he tried, he really did. Then, when he thought nothing else could possibly go wrong, somebody, or something, hijacked his time machine. So this kind of reminds me, I don't know how it's going to be written, of course. I've never read Larry Niven or this book, of course. This reminds me of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I think it probably is going to be a little bit more serious than that, but I think the shenanigans that they might get up to in this book is similar on that regard. Different time periods, looking for different things on different adventures. So I'm excited about that. So this is my final book that I bought. That's my book haul. If you have read any of these books, let me know down in the comments. If you have any comments about what I should do next, bookstores, books I should read, anything else, let me know in the comments. And until next time, keep reading. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.